Hey everybody, this is Kyle with the Brickto Security, and today we're continuing on the Hack the Box starting point series with the tactics box. Let's get going. Alright, so I got a box up and running here. I'm going to grab our IP address. I'm going to go into Kali and I'm going to do a sudo nmap, put in our IP address. I'm going to do a -sc to do a default script search, and I'm going to do a -pn. And what the -pn does is it skips the host discovery and actually just assumes that every host that we enter is going to be already confirmed as online. This is something that a lot of firewalls will block if it's seeing something and try to scan its network to confirm what devices are there. Since we know that this IP address is going to be up coming from Hack the Box, we can go ahead and search this. I'm going to let nmap run and I'll get back to you in a sec. All right, so nmap came back. So looks like we have port 135, 139, and 445. Port 135 is RPC service, and this allows for Windows to communicate with different applications. Port 139 is used for NetBIOS, and this allows for things like files and printers to be able to communicate over the session layer in the OSI model. And port 445 is a standard port for SMB, or server message block. Now what SMB is it allows for different Windows devices to communicate with one another, and ultimately it is a file network sharing protocol that is used. And one of the things that we notice here too is in our script search, it used security mode for SMB, and it did say that message signing is enabled but not required. So if we have access into this network, we may be able to do something like pass the hash attacks. Now, one thing we can use to actually communicate with different SMB shares is a tool called smbclient. And what you can do in order to get that set up is run sudo apt install smbclient. Now I already have this installed, but you'll have this go through the process on your machine. And I'm going to do smbclient -h in order to bring up the help menu, and we can see everything that smbclient is able to do. Now there's a couple things that we're going to look to utilize with this. We're going to list the host that we were going to use, as well as assign the user that we were going to try to enumerate if we can already have access into this SMB share. Now, normally this is something that you're going to do post exploitation. So in this box in particular, we're going to assume that we already have found credentials. In this case, we're going to assume that we have found credentials for the administrator account. So I'm going to run this command, smbclient -l. I'm going to put in our IP address that we use, and then I'm going to do -U in order to assign the user. So I'm going to do administrator. Press enter on that, and it's going to ask for a password. Like I said before, we're going to assume this is post exploitation, so we've already gotten our credentials for the administrator. So I'm going to just press enter on this. We're not going to have a password assigned to the administrator, but we're still going to be able to list the different shares that the administrator has access to. And we can see that he has access to the admin, the C share, and the IPC share. The IPC share has a bunch of built-in pipes that we will not necessarily want to touch, as this is kind of what is used as default communications for Windows itself. So that's not anything that we're going to have any kind of interest in, but the C share is going to be the default drive that is assigned on all Windows machines. This is where things like your users, your programs, and all the different save files are going to be when you access things like documents, videos, pictures, etc. Now, the admin share is something that is custom to somebody only like the administrator, or could be assigned to a specific user. So now that we set up our initial foothold and we know what we're going to be exploiting onto this service, we have two different options here. I'm going to show you the first option, and that's going to be utilizing smbclient. So I'm going to set up this command with smbclient, and we're going to syntax this with 4 slashes. I'm going to put in the IP address. I'm going to do 2 more backslashes, and then we're going to look for a specific share. So I'm going to do the C share, since that's going to be the one that might be of highest interest for us. After that, you're going to continue with the capital U to assign your username, and we're going to do administrator. Press enter because we don't have a password for this, and this has given us access as the administrator into the C share. I'm going to bring this back up to the top. I'm going to type help so we can see all the different commands that smbclient allows us to use. It's similar to like what we do with FTP. We can go ahead and CD around and see the different things inside the directories. We can get things. We can also unlock and log on depending upon what is actually on this share. So if I type ls, we can see everything within this page. If I cd into users, Press enter, ls on that again. I could cd into administrator, ls on that, and we can see this is the default drive that everyone's used to seeing on their C drive. So we have things like the contacts, the desktop, documents, downloads, the different user data that they have on this is something that they may have downloaded. Why don't we cd into the desktop, ls one more time, and we can see that we have our flag right there. I'm going to go ahead and type git flag.txt, press enter on that, and from SMB, it's using that file network sharing protocol to transfer that file from this C drive as the administrator onto our machine. Exit on that, ls, we can see we have the flag. If I cat out the flag.txt, there is our answer for hack the box. Okay, so that's one tool that we were able to use, but now we're going to do a different tool that's brought to us by Mpacket called psexec. I'm going to open up another tab. I'm going to cd into my op drive because this is typically where I like to save all my different operations. Now I already have Mpacket installed, but if you do not have that installed, you're going to do sudo git clone and paste that Mpacket and get into your command. I'm going to drop that page for you right down to the description. Now after you do that, you're going to cd into Mpacket and you're going to do sudo pip 3 install -r and requirements.txt. Press enter. Let it install all of the different requirements. Everything's already installed for me, so I don't have anything new that I need to add. And after that, you're going to do pip 3 install period, and this is going to install all of the rest of Mpacket for you. I'm going to bring that back up to the top. Now once all that has been installed, you can cd into examples. Examples is where it has all the different pies that Mpacket has created. Now the one that we're going to be looking to utilize is going to be this one right here called psexec.py. To use psexec, we can do sudo python 3 psexec.py. If I do -h, it's going to give us all the different things that we need to use psexec. The typical positional arguments that we're going to have is we're going to assign a domain with a slash, give it a username, colon with a password, add it, and then the target IP address. So let's go back down to the bottom. I'm going to press up once, delete this -h. So I don't have a domain that we need to assign here, but I am going to give it the username. So I'm going to do administrator. Now I need to go back and grab the IP address that we're using. I'm going to do give it the IP address, and then press enter. It's going to ask for the password. We don't have a password for the administrator. Press enter again, and we are in. Now the way Mpacket was able to design this was allowing this psexec command to interact with the Microsoft sysinternals tool to generate a shell that is then hidden from a actual user. So it doesn't need to have any kind of interaction on the device that we're looking to exploit. Now this is good for us. If I type who am I, we can see that we are entity authority system, which means we are essentially root on this computer and have the highest privileges. So at this point, all we need to do is just cd over to our flag. So to cd over to our flag, I'm just going to do cd. We're going to do the C drive / capital U users / administrator / desktop. Press enter. Type dir because we are now in a Windows machine. We can see that we have our flag. And to read the file, you're going to type flag.txt. And there is our flag once again. Let's go ahead and get these hack the box answers in. Which nmap switch can we use to enumerate machines when our ping ICMP packets are blocked by Windows Firewall? That is the -pn, capital P, lowercase n. What does the 3-letter acronym SMB stands for? Well, that would be Server Message Block. What port does SMB use to operate at? That is port 445. That is the standard port, as well as 139. What command line argument do you give to smbclient to list available shares? That would be -L. What character at the end of a share name indicates it's an administrative share? That would be a $. Which administrative share is accessible on the box that allows users to view the whole file system? That would be C $. That is the standard share on a Windows device. What command can we use to download the files we find on the SMB server? That is the git command. That is similar to what we do with FTP. Which tool that is part of the mpacket collection can be used to get an interactive shell on the system? That was the psexec.py from mpacket. And then you'll go ahead and submit the root flag, and we will have completed the tactics box. Excellent work on completing the tactics box. We're going to start building upon our tools and our overall repertoire to build on these pen tests. mpacket offers us a lot of different modules that we can use. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. See you in the next one.